Now we'll discuss about the animal cell and different organs, that is that different components like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, lysosomes, all those we'll discuss. So this diagram shows the cell. If you see here, what are the parts which are present, then we'll move on to the different parts. You can see here the nucleus, ribosomes, Golgi apparatus, plasma membrane, mitochondria, cytoskeleton, which includes microtubule, intermediate, filament, microfilament. Here, if you see, not in most the plant cells, that is flagellum, lysosome, centriole, peroxisome, rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. This is the animal cell. Now, coming to the cell is the smallest structural, functional, and biological unit of all living organism, which can capable of biosynthesis, replication, and energy transformation. They are often called the building blocks of life. Cells are often called as the building blocks of life. So, if you see here, cytology is a scientific study of cellular structure and function, while the number of cells in plants and animals varies from species to species. So, if you see here, organisms can be classified basing on this classification like unicellular, which consists of a single cell, including bacteria, or also multicellular, which includes in plants and animals. So, humans contain about 10 trillion cells. So, all cells arise from existing cell by the process of cell division, in which one cell divides into two identical cells. So different types of cells fulfill unique roles that support homeostasis and contribute to many functional capabilities for a human organism. So most plant and animal cells are visible only under the microscope, with dimensions between 1 and 100 mu meters. So if you see, animal cell contains membrane bound nucleus. It also contains other membrane bound cell organelles. These cellular organelles carry out specific functions that are necessary for all the normal functioning of the cell. So we'll go to the diagram there, which is cell organelles. See, bound nucleus, the nucleus, and all the different cell organelles which are involving for the all the functions. Now we'll go into different functions of different organelles. So if you see here, this is a diagram which shows the different parts here: organelles, cilia, cytoplasm, mitochondria, filaments, ribosome, rough endoplasmic reticulum, nucleus, Golgi apparatus. Here you can see here centrioles, flagella, microtubules, cell membrane. You can see here lysosomes. So plasma membrane, a biological membrane that surrounds the cytoplasm of a cell, uh, is a plasma membrane. It is another, you can say, as the outer boundary of the cell. So this is a thin elastic structure of about 7.5 to 10 nm in thickness. It separates the internal environment inside the cell from the external environment outside the cell. So it separates from the internal environment of the cell to the external environment of the cell. So the plasma membrane is made up of lipid bilayer, which contains lipid molecules, which includes phospholipids, cholesterol, and glycolipids. So here you can see the diagram which illustrates. See the diagram. Cholesterol here inside of the cell membrane and outside, which shows the difference. Okay, outside the cell membrane and inside the cell membrane. So the plasma membrane is said to be semi-permeable. Semi-permeable means that the membrane allows some materials to pass while excluding others. So liquid soluble substances and gases such as oxygen and carbon dioxide can easily pass through the phospholipids, Water soluble substances such as glucose and charged molecules such as ions, however, are unable to pass through the lipid bilayer. So these are the lipid soluble substances and water soluble substances, since the plasma membrane is a semi permeable membrane. So, two different types of proteins that are embedded in the cell membrane are integral proteins and peripheral proteins. A transport protein is an example of integral protein, which allows a particular material such as certain ions to pass in and out of the cell. Another important group of integral proteins are cell recognition proteins, which serves to mark the cell's identity so that it can be recognized by the other cells. So, a receptor is a type of recognition protein that can selectively bind a specific molecule outside the cell, and this binding induces a chemical reaction within the cell. So, functions, if you see here, the functions of plasma membrane, the membrane allows the passage of different nutrients and electrolyte ions in and out of the cell. The plasma membrane also plays a vital role in communication between cells to cell. Plasma membranes also contain proteins that allow cells to detect external signaling molecules such as hormones. Now, coming to cytoplasm, the intracellular substance in which all cell organelles are suspended is known as cytoplasm. That means the intracellular substances in which all the cell organelles are suspended. So, cytoplasm is a viscous, transparent, gel like semi solid fluid containing about 75 to 90% water, proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, organic substances, including amino acids, sugars, polysaccharides, and inorganic substances such as mineral ions. So, this is a diagram which shows the cytoplasm. So now coming to nucleus, you can see the diagram of the nucleus. The nucleus is the largest and most prominent of a cell organ among the cell organelles. The nucleus is generally considered as the control center of the cell because it stores all the genetic instructions for manufacturing proteins. This is a diagram. So the nucleus is surrounded by a double membrane called the nuclear envelope. This envelope consists of a lipid bilayers with a space called nuclear pore. So this nuclear pore is a tiny passage where the passage of proteins RNA between the nucleus of the cytoplasm takes place. See here the diagram. Endoplasmic reticulum. So, ER, it is abbreviated. The endoplasmic reticulum is an extensive network of membranous tubules that extend from the nuclear envelopes to the cell membrane. So, the endoplasmic reticulum, what does it do? It provides passages throughout the cell for transporting, synthesizing, and storing of materials. So, this endoplasmic reticulum is considered as a mini circulatory system for the cell. So endoplasmic reticulum can be of two forms, rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So these two types of endoplasmic reticulum perform different functions in depending upon the cell type. So this you can see here, this is the rough endoplasmic reticulum and this is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So you can see this diagram shows the difference between the rough and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Here, this is the rough endoplasmic reticulum with small spikes here, and this is a smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So rough endoplasmic reticulum is dotted with embedded granules called ribosomes. You can see here dotted. Okay. And the cavities of the rough endoplasmic reticulum work in the separation and transportation of the proteins. Now coming to smooth endoplasmic reticulum does not contain any ribosome. It performs biosynthesis of steroid hormones, sex hormones, digestive enzymes, fatty acids, phospholipids, triglycerides and cholesterol. You can see here there are no ribosomes here in the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. You can see here the diagram which shows the rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic. This is the difference by presence of rhizomes. So this also diagrams how the synthesis takes place. So ribosomes is a site of protein synthesis. It can be found free floating in the cytoplasm or attached to the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So it is composed of two ribosomal RNA subunits that wrap around mRNA to start the process of translation. So protein synthesis consists of two main stages, that is transcription and translation. Transcription occurs within the nucleus and is a phase of protein synthesis in which mRNA is copied from the DNA. Okay. So the mRNA, what it will do, it will leaves the nucleus through the nuclear pores and goes to the ribosome. It's the ribosome diagram. Here you can see the amino acid chain, the protein, tRNA, codons, mRNA. Here you can see larger subunits and small subunit. So the ribosome that reads or interprets the instructions within mRNA and uses transferred RNA, that is tRNA, to link amino acids to produce a protein. Next is Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus is a membrane-bound organelle which is mainly composed of a series of flattened stacked pouches, look like pancakes. If you see, these are called as cisternae. It is located in the cytoplasm next to the endoplasmic reticulum. So what is its function of this Golgi apparatus? If you see, it helps for sorting, modifying, packaging and transporting of proteins and lipids to target areas of the cell. So this is the Golgi apparatus. You can see the diagram. It does all the works. See. So the Golgi apparatus of two distinct ends, the cis phase and the trans phase of Golgi network. So the cis phase receives products from transport vesicles. So these products are sorted through Golgi apparatus and then they are released from the trans phase. So both are important in the Golgi. It will cis will receive and trans will transport. Okay, functions of Golgi apparatus, if you see, sorting, modifying, packaging, and transporting of proteins and lipids to target areas of a particular cell, and some are exported from the cell through exocytosis. Proteins formed by ribosomes are stored in the secretory vesicles by Golgi apparatus. Even synthesis of glycolipids takes place by the Golgi apparatus. Next one is mitochondria. Mitochondria are bean-shaped organelles that can be considered the powerhouses of the cell. We all know, converting oxygen and nutrients into adenosine triphosphate, that is ATP. The number of mitochondria present in a cell depends upon the metabolic requirement of that particular cell. Okay, so there are about 1600 to 2000 mitochondria present in liver cells, muscle cells, kidney. However, if you see in case of sperm cells, it is having only 20 to 24. The outer membrane and the inner membrane are made of proteins and phospholipid layers separated by the intermembrane space. This is a diagram of the mitochondria. You can see here inner membrane and the outer membrane, ATP synthesized particles, inner membrane, matrix, ribosome, and the granules, cisternae. Okay, these are the cisternae. So the outer membrane covers the surface of mitochondrion. You can see here. Okay. And has a large number of proteins known as sporins. The inner membrane has numerous folds called cisternae. Coming to the diagram again. The inner membrane is having the folds. You can see the folds here. These folds are called as cisternae. Okay, so the mitochondrial matrix is a viscous fluid that contains a mixture of enzymes and proteins. It also consists of ribosomes, inorganic ions, mitochondrial DNA, nucleotide cofactors, organic molecules, etc. So the proteins and enzymes present play an important role in the synthesis of ATP molecules. So what are the functions of mitochondria? Produces energy through the process of oxidative phosphorylation, regulates the metabolic activity of the cell, promotes the growth of new cells and cell multiplication, apoptosis or programmed cell death. It is also involved in various cell activities like cell signaling, cell sensing, controlling the cell cycle, and also in the cell growth. So this is a equation you can see here. Food like glucose plus oxygen, energy, waste, and water. Lysosome. So the Golgi apparatus releases secretory vesicles which further converted into new lysosomes. A lysosome is an organelle that contains enzymes that break down and digest unneeded cellular components such as damaged cell organelles will be present. So lysosome, this is a diagram of lysosome. So what does this lysosomes? Lysosomes are involved with various cell processes. They break down excess or worn out cell parts. They may be used to destroy invading viruses and bacteria. If the cell is damaged beyond repair, lysosomes can help to self-destruct in a process called programmed cell death. That means these lysosomes are also referred to as the suicidal bags or cell death or apoptosis. So this is about the animal cell and different cell organelles. Thank you.